Hey, welcome to the Corbellic Studios. We're going to be doing something different today where I'm going to show you one of my tricks, how to be efficient. I've read a lot of the comments. I read a lot of people either doubting their ability to do it or doubting my ability within the time frame of where we're able to produce art. When I'm talking about just knocking out art, being loose with your style and not thinking about it. This is a great exercise. This is a brilliant exercise for a lot of you out there who are just feeling like you can't do the looseness or you can't paint fast because you're focused on one painting. So a way how to get past that and the way to break out of your mind is to do multiple. So that way you're not married to the choices that you're making on one canvas. You could just get onto another one and get onto another one. You might have a color of blue on your paintbrush, and instead of you always having to muddy it up, you could put blue in one area of one canvas and blue on the other. That way you're not so honed in to whatever the style is on that one canvas. You could just move on to the next canvas and then you hone into another color style or another color style. You're going to have more fun this way, but this is also going to just break you out of being dedicated to that one canvas. I understand, trust me. I haven't just been doing this style, my whole art career. I had to teach myself how to do this. That way I can optimize myself to make the most money within eBay and have the system flowing for me. So this is a tip, trick, cheat right here. We always talk about finding your shortcuts. I'm always thinking about ways how to work smarter, never harder. So this was one of the ways how I thought about working smarter. Now, before I did these canvases, I just drew them out real quick. I drew them out real quick, and I'll probably have a timeline right now or a time lapse so you can see how I was able to pump those out. And yeah, just real quick, how I was able to just draw them out. I mean, I just took a marker, just draw each one out. It doesn't matter. It was just rough drawings from the projector. Yes, I used the projector when I got these images just so I could have the proportions. I'm always talking about the proportions with you, but this way you can see what I'm talking about. And now I could go in with any color style that I want to, because really I need to do a new palette. I'm not going to lie. My paint is kind of choppy right now. So anytime that I need to do a new palette, I'm just going to use all the colors that I have. I don't care what it is. I'm just going to get it through and get it out. All right, whatever. You're probably like, enough talking. Let's just get straight into this. So that way you can see me do, these are going to be five canvases. And I know that we're going to be able to knock this out in less than 50 minutes. So if we're doing it less than 50 minutes, right? I mean, 50 minutes is a long time for me to be doing five of these canvases. But let's just say, hypothetically, I do these in 50 minutes. Then that means that I just painted each canvas for 10 minutes. That's still quick. So even if I do it for an hour, 60 minutes, which is long, I'm not going to do it for that. This should be a 20 to 30 minute paint tutorial, but you're going to see how quick it is. And then you're going to be like, I could get done with my day. Yes, you can get done with your day just lining up canvases like this on the wall, or you could just line them up on the table. I just don't line it up on the table anymore because I don't want to be hunching my back. It's just bad for my posture, and I'm more of I'm a physical artist, and compared to, I don't want to work like that on the table no more, looking down, and then afterwards it bothers my neck. All right, so let's get into this. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're in this together, and let's just do this, right? I mean, let's just figure it out. But oh well, at least that we got some canvases done. We're going to take pictures of them, and they're going to get listed on eBay, and I'm not going to forget about them. I'm not going to remember these. I'm going to forget about it. We did it together. If I can do it, you can do it. Let's do this. All right, so I got my brushes. Let's, you know what? Let's add a little bit of like a wash on the background. So that's just me taking one of my big brushes right here, okay? And then I'm just going to go into some of my acrylic, like the blue, like a light blue right here. And then I'm going to go into the water. And then look, let's do this for this background, because this is supposed to be like the water, right? I'm doing that there. Now let's do another wash. I'm the same blue. That way I don't have to change up my brush and I don't have to wash it too much. It's water. Like, you see how I'm watercoloring it? And I'm doing it light like this with the watercolor, so that way we can still see the the markings that we made. We don't want to have it be too heavy and then we can't see the lines because that defeats the purpose, right? All right, let's take a little bit of white right here. I'm still with the blue. I'm still with the blue. Let's do this. Boom. Look. Bang. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, now this one, check this out. What we're going to do on this background for this bird, look. You see how the choices are more free because I'm working on multiples. It gives me a psychological advantage. There's a lot of artists who also have the same problem when they said that it's hard for them to marry decisions when it comes to one canvas. So this is a trick that they've done. I've learned this. I learned this technique 3 years ago in my studio in Tampa, Florida, where I wanted to be efficient. And I also felt like I had ADHD where my mind was moving too fast, where it was hard for me to focus on one painting. So it was just easier for me to do this. Because then afterwards, you're going to feel so good. So I give you permission to do this style. Please do it. And then tell me how you feel afterwards. You're going to feel so good because you accomplished a lot of work. And then what I like about doing this process is that when I'm done, for example, I don't have the in-betweens of like I finish a canvas and I get distracted, or I'm on my cell phone, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. No, it's like it's like we painted one canvas at one time and we really knocked out 5 of them in one batch. Actually, let me turn my timer on. I forgot. I'm sorry. Look. Let's add let's add 2 minutes to it. All right, I just added 2 minutes to it. Hold on. Yeah. So that way we can know where we're at the end of this. All right, I just added a little bit of pink right now. I forgot there was something else I was going to say before I forgot the time about working like this. Oh, what I was going to say is that how you can do this for yourself. What I did just because I'm in my studio, I put these nails on the wall, and they're not nails, they're screws. So I put screws on the wall, and then I wrapped them around with I wrapped the screws around with masking tape, like masking tape, and that way it's like a soft area for the canvas to land on. So I did them in different sizes. So that way if I was working on a 16 by 20, or if I was working with 12 by 16 or 14 by 11, I could just put them on there and they hang. That way I could do more at a time. I knew I wanted this wall when I got my studio. So that way I had a choice to do this. And it feels good to work like this. It's been a while actually since I worked the wall, but I just thought this was a good example for me to show you. Someone suggested to me in one of the comments that I did like a they wanted me to do like a 2-hour back-to-back presentation of me working. And I was like, all right, I'm game. Like, that's just a normal day. That's not difficult. But I guess the mindset for them, it was difficult. And then other people were like, no, instead of you doing it that long, how about you could break it up. Like you can have um, you could break it up into where you could have like a 30-minute, or you could have it into a 40-minute episode. And then how much you ever do on that one. And then I was like, you know what if I just actually, I could do this. I could do those number counts, but I just line them up. Instead of you just seeing me do one at a time, you see me do those type of videos all the time. Look, and I'm still just working the big brush. I'm not even into the 1-inch brush yet. I'm still just doing the big one because we're just watercoloring some different layers in here, you know? Dang, my green right now is so chunky. It's like hard to get in there. Yikes. Look at that. Here, all right, now let me go for my 1.5 inch. Actually, you know what? I'm not ready for that. Let me wash a little bit more colors in here. Some green. All right. Let me do some cyan, and I'm just doing like a watercolor because this is just our wash, which is underneath. Pretty soon, when I'm done with this part, I have to bring my heat gun over here. I forgot to bring my heat gun over. That's not a problem. That way I can just dry this off a little bit and we can get into it. Now this is going to be our flower. This one's going to be cool. These always come out cool when they're so like abstract like that. All right, a little bit more water. Boom. Let's get this in here. Let's get that in there. We want to get that green underneath, right? Now let's get some purple in there. Dang, I don't have any dark purple. Let me put that down on there. I think I probably have like, after this, I think I probably have like 1 or 2 more paint demos in me before I need to do a new paint palette. And I'm just going to do a whole new palette, I think, because this one is kind of old. It's got a little bit of mold on it. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes that happens when you're dealing with these wet palettes. You could get mold on it. One of the ways how you could get past that, you could spray it with water and alcohol. But yeah, sometimes it could get like that, especially if you're like gone for the weekend or something. But it's not like it's food or anything. It's not going to kill you. Look, I'm just getting some colors in there. I don't know. That way we just have a wash, right? Look, that's the horse leg, another horse leg. And these are going to look great when it has the wash underneath like this. The buyers are going to love it. Why? Because it's just you being you, just showing up to work. It's just the original drip itch, the original happy mistakes. You can't plan this. These are the type of mistakes that you can't plan. This is why it's so great. Look at this. Look how we're working it, and I'm not even. You don't see me worried about nothing because it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. All right, I got some navy blue right now. Let's see what we can do with this navy blue. I still have it watered. Let's do something like that, like they're in between. And then let's see if we're ready for our. Here, hold on. Let's blue some of this out. All right, let's blue some of this out. That's the lips. Blue some of this. And then, you know what? That's it. That's it, at least for the big one, so we can do with the wash. Now we're going to take our 1 inch, okay? We have our 1 inch brush. Let me also get a paper towel. Let me grab the heat gun. Don't worry, I'm still here. I'm still going to keep it on the camera and no editing cuts and jumps and whatever that the naysayers want to say that is going on. Now, here's another cool thing too. What I just remember right now. If you do want to see longer videos, you could join the eBay art. You could join the eBay Elite, and you could see videos that I have on there where I do longer ones of our painting sessions. I have like hour videos on there where I'm doing 1x1s, and I'm just breaking it down. I'm just painting. So that way you could just see the flow of how I'm setting up. Okay, there we go. Normally, when I have the heat gun, I usually try to edit out the session of me doing the heat gun, but we're going to go through the whole process. I'm trying not to talk right now because it's kind of difficult to hear me over the heat gun, but this is great for saving time when you want to layer up. We're almost there. It doesn't need to be 100% dry. It just needs to be workable. And this is the beauty about working with the acrylics and compared to oils. If you're an oil painter, you can still do this, but the thing you have to think about is shipping. Because once you're dealing with oils, you have to wait a while for you to actually for it to cure and for it to dry. And then you have to wait when you can ship it. That's the problem. All right, now we have this. Let's just start going into it. Let's just start painting our colors and letting the chips fall where they lay, as we say. Let the chips fall where they lay. You have to trust the process. The artwork is already there. Don't get down on yourself. I could say to myself with every painting, oh, this isn't gonna work. This is gonna be ugly. Think about me just doing this right now, being transparent with you on video and going through my whole vulnerable stages right now, of art. With working these paintings. And if you do decide to work like this, which I suggest, at least try it out because it could be for you and it could really solve some problems. Then just move on to the next one. Don't try to marry a painting too much. Don't work it too much. Get on to the next one. You can see how I didn't change this color up yet. Like we're still like in the red, pinkish color, right? And I'm just using these really as a warm up because these are the first paintings of the day, but that's fine. That's totally fine. People don't want perfect. That's not what they're coming to eBay for. We've been lied to. This is perfect for you if you're retired, you're off a pension or retirement or Social Security, I meant, or even if you want that additional income because you got a full time job. This is perfect for everybody. I wish that I was doing this years ago, but everything in life happens for a reason. There's going to be certain things that you go through in life where at the time you don't understand why you're going through it or why it happens, but it it brought you there for a reason. You had to go through that journey so you could be the character of who you are. If I didn't go through my journeys that I felt like it wasn't right for me when I was going through them, I wouldn't be here with you in our great community to teach my lessons about things that what I've learned. I only learn these things because I bumped my head so many times. I had to learn it. I had to sink or swim. And I don't have a plan B. I only have that I have to succeed at this or I'm in trouble. I have to succeed at this. I don't have a plan B where I can go back to a corporate job or I can I've been out of work for over 7 years being my own entrepreneur. I was talking about that on one of the previous videos that in corporate America, they don't want you to be your own boss. I mean, you're your own boss, but I don't like when when some people say that their manager is their boss. That's not your boss. That's your coworker. You're your own boss. Them, that's just your director or whatever that their title is. But they don't want you to be your own boss because then you're not controllable and you can leave them at any moment when things go sour. So for me, it's hard for me at this moment. Like I didn't have an option to go back to anything because if I went into a interview or something like that, right, when things got tough with eBay, I couldn't say, yeah, I was working for myself as a digital entrepreneur in e-commerce selling art. They wouldn't understand that, but also they would be intimidated because you were making more money than they are. Why would they want to hire somebody who was making more money than them? Could you imagine that? They'll be like, no, thank you. I used to make that joke years ago, even before I got into business, when I knew that corporate America wasn't for me and I was just so burnt out of corporate America. I used to say that if you ever went into a job interview and they were like, hey, why are you here? Why do you want a job? And you're like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I run my own business on the side. I just wanted to learn. I wanted to take some of the skills here and what I've learned I run my own corporate business or I run my own I'm an entrepreneur. And all right, the camera just got cut off right there. So I had to go back and just start it. It cuts off like at every 25 minutes or something like that. So don't ding that against me. We're still here. We're still working the process. It's not that difficult. Trust in the process. What do you think about that story? What I was talking about though, like having a corporate job in corporate America where they'll be intimidated by you. So that's also a thing too. If you're going to do this eBay business and you're still working a job, it's up to you if you want to tell somebody, but I wouldn't. At least not at first, because you're going to put yourself in a situation where, you know, you're going to have people who act like they were your friends and your coworkers at first, and then they're going to be kind of jealous of how you're moving. Why are you showing up to work with a brand new car and new clothes? They know when you work that job, that corporate job, that they want you to go begging them for the money. Hey, excuse me, boss. Excuse me, boss. Can I please get some crumbs? Can you give me 5%? No, we'll evaluate you at the end of the year. Go back to work. Okay. They don't want you to be getting your own money outside of it. Then they'll start messing with you and they'll try to fire you. How dare you get money outside of us? Galleries are somewhat the same way for people who want to be a gallery artist or they deal with galleries. Some galleries nowadays, because they're closing, they'll have you sign an NDA saying that you can't make art outside their gallery, that only they can sell your artwork. That's just crazy. So you can't even make money. Like you want to sell art on eBay and you want to flip it and you want to have your own brand, you want to do your thing, and they're gonna say, nah, you can't. You can't sell art outside of us. That's wild. And then when we do sell your piece, you have to give us 50% because we own the building. Like those days is over with. I don't even understand why people still go with that route. They're like, because we own the collector's box. We're the ones who we have the collector's list. Well, you could get your own collector's list, but also that's what gurus try to teach you as well. Oh well, you could get your own collector's list, get an email, but then you have to create so much art online. You have to go through this whole process, and with this way, when you deal with eBay, you're formatting you're you're getting your own collector's list through eBay, warm leads. I say it all the time. The best commissions that I've received. I don't do commissions anymore because it's such a waste of. I don't want to say it's a waste of time. It's a blessing. It's a blessing from God. If you could get a commission, take them up, get your money, get done with it. But the best commissions jobs that I received with the highest pay rates, I'm talking about, 5 figures for paintings, was from eBay. I would do a smaller painting, something that people would go, oh, your paintings are selling for a low amount or this, that, the other. And then they don't see the whole picture on the back end. People will hire you for commissions. And the best commissions that I received was from eBay. They buy a little one and then the next week they want, a $10,000 project. Happens all the time. Now, when I was doing the gallery phase, it didn't happen like that. Just being honest. Those type of things don't happen like that. If you're lucky and somebody does buy a gallery piece from a gallery that your art is in, okay, you got lucky off that one piece, but how many times are they going to come back and buy another one? Are they going to buy another one from you next week? No, they're not, because they already invested in that one piece that they want. And that was luck. You don't even know when the next sale is going to be. That's why eBay is so much more important, because you're getting the sales every single day. And then they add up. Some people get so lost where they don't even know the game of eBay. And they're like, well, your daily numbers are like this. I teach, don't even look at your daily numbers. Don't look at your daily numbers because you're going to go crazy. You're going to think that you're not succeeding. You need to look at your monthly numbers. Really, you need to just look at your quarterly numbers, because then how eBay is going to be, maybe one day it's the market. It's a dry spell. It doesn't mean your art's not good. It could be a dry spell one day. Then the next day, eBay will make sure that you made up for that slow day on the next day. Or they'll if you had a slow week, they'll make sure that you do the slow week and you make up for it on the next week. So don't follow the day-to-day numbers, or you're going to feel like it's not working for some reason. And then the worst part is this: if you do that, is that you're going to get caught up thinking that a certain paint style is not successful, and don't do that either. That's the worst part. So, for example, if you're following your day-to-day, and there's a certain paint style that you did, and you're accounting the time of what it took for you to do it, and let's say that it doesn't sell that well, or it's not going that for whatever it is in that moment, you're going to think, oh, nobody likes that paint style, I'm never going to do that again. But then what happens is you do that paint style again when the timing is right. You could do that same theme or that same painting next week, and then it sells for $200, it sells for $100, or somebody gets it for a combined order, and then it really pops off. You can't control it. It happens like that all the time. And it could be the same painting. So that's why I say don't follow the day-to-days, and don't worry about people looking at your store counting the day-to-days. Oh, your numbers are this, your numbers are that. They don't know the whole picture. They don't know what your store is. They don't know what your progress is. And then if you fall into that trap where you're caring about the day-to-days, what's going to happen is that your egos are getting involved, and that's a bad thing. Don't let your ego get involved. If you have a big ego and you care too much about making money where it's coming and going, it all adds up. But if you care about the day to days and you're going to be so invested in the knickknacks of the little fiddles and the knickknacks or whatever, it all adds up. But if you're worried about that stuff, it's not going to be for you because you're going to have a heart attack. You're going to give yourself a heart attack in this eBay business because you're worried about every single sale and every single. It all adds up as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do. Now you're losing if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you only have a few paintings here, a few paintings there. Then you're not getting the combination consistency where they're coming back for the combined orders. And that's your fault then. And you can't blame anybody. You're not working the system. But if you're working the system, do not treat this as day trading like you're on a stock exchange. You know what Warren Buffett says about stocks, right? He says he doesn't day trade. He doesn't even look at the day-to-days. What he looks at, he says he plays the patient game. And that's how you need to be looking at it because eBay has an algorithm that's smarter than all of us. And how they put things in motion is that they'll put things in motion. What time are we at? All right, we're at 25 minutes. They'll put things in motion where, like I said, it all adds up at the end of the month. You'll get your sales, but in order for you to get your sales, you have to stretch it out like a stomach. You know, when I say like a stomach, I mean like, you know, people who eat a lot. The reason they eat a lot is because they maximize their stomach out. Maybe this is a bad example. Maybe this is a bad example, but they were able to pressure their stomach out, right? And that's how they're able to eat a lot. You'll be able to eat a lot too, as long as you maximize your growth by stressing. I guess what I mean is stress the system. Stress the system of the eBay system where they know that you're doing that 20 a day, then that 30, then that, you know, but I talk about starting slow where you're going to be starting slow doing the 10 a day. Then the next week you have to do the 15 a day. But I mean, I'm saying for you to get the best advantage out of it, stress the system as early as you can, especially if you have a new account, because they don't know who you are. And if they're like, oh, this type of new account, they're doing these numbers. So then they're going to put a limit cap on you. And then that's where they're going to put you at because they know that you can handle that stress. If they think that you're starting out and you only stress yourself out this small, that's where they're going to hit you at. And then you got to wait for the next month for you to get a stress level. So just stress the system out as quick as possible so you can hit those numbers. Then when I teach how to work fast, for example, the only reason I'm talking about that, I had to learn that way to stress the system. It's not because I naturally paint this way. It's because starting off, you're basically going to be giving away art. You have to. You're going to be giving away art at first just so eBay is fed. You know, eBay's like Little Shop of Horrors. Feed me, Seymour. You have to feed it at first. Then once you feed it, it's going to give you the riches. And it's going to take 3 weeks as long as you're doing it right. 2 to 3 weeks. But you're going to get your sales your second week. Of course, you're not going to get it your first week because we're setting up our auctions on 10-day durations. But once your heart is regulated, when I say your heart is regulated, I mean that once your numbers and you've been consistent with it, you'll have a paycheck every single day as long as you don't miss a day. And then you're regulated where it's every single day is like clockwork. Only thing you got to do, keep a schedule where you're being consistent and where you have the process on there. As long as you do that, for you, it's going to be like It sounds difficult to you now because just like anything in life, you're not used to it. When you're not used to something, when your body's not used to it, it's just the weakness leaving you in fighting, fighting the unknown. It's just like going to a gym. That's why I always say that. Painting is like going to a gym. It's just like a mental exercise. You're going to learn more about yourself from painting than anything. You're going to learn what you're capable of. You're going to believe in yourself. I love where in the eBay art community, people who didn't believe in themselves, people who I coach, they're like, at first I didn't know that I was capable of doing this, but I said, you know what? I'm just going to try it and experiment. And I can't believe that I did this art style that I like. You're going to find your voice. You're going to find what really feels good to you. Let's be honest for a minute here. When was the last time you felt good about your art? Let's be honest here. You say that you like it or how you like how it looks because you've been conditioned by people to say, yes, that's pretty, that's beautiful, that looks good. So you say to yourself, yeah, I like how that looks. But do you like doing it? The process of you making that pretty thing, do you like how it feels? It doesn't feel freeing. When was the last time you actually enjoyed it? All right, we're at 30 minutes right now. See, we're still kicking butt. Because, like, right now, if I wanted to be done with these, then that means that I only spent 5 minutes on these. Man, we still have time. In me, I'm just having fun to be honest, because I'm talking to you. I enjoy talking to you. I love talking to you. I don't have no problem. I'm still working fast. I'm just working it. I'm adding the layers. The layers. All right, now I'm gonna go in with my 1/2 inch brush or my 3/4. This one gives me a little bit more sharp edge and pronounced. But I always love saying that's cool when I'm in the process of painting. I always go, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I think it's cool. Say that to yourself at times when you're painting. Just say, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think that's going to free you from really doing what you want to do and make it an excuse, kind of. Then it's more freeing. Yeah, we don't know what we're doing. So what difference does it make? We're having fun. We're at least we're showing up. But but what if it doesn't work out? Oh well. All right, now I'm just gonna start hitting these things off with some black lining, and then I can add more colors onto it after. Let me get my let me get my black jar. Always have this jar right here for so it's just easier for me to hold than to go back to the palette for each color each time that I want to go in there for black. Let me know in the comments, how do you like to paint? Do you have a palette that you hold in your hand, or do you have one that's on the table next to you? What do you do? And like I said, well, this is just to add some color, some black color to it as a base. And then we can always layer this as well later on. And there's, you know what? I mean, just try this as your first one. And what I always say is the things that you don't love about your art that you're doing now, you can make up for it on the next piece. That's fine. Just say that to yourself. Because you're not going to find the magic unless you show up and at least just try it. The magic is in the mistakes. You know how brave you have to be to do this? And I salute you because everybody in the eBay art community, they're so brave where they're trying something different. They're getting outside themselves. That takes a lot of bravery, a lot of courage. So I salute you for doing that. I see everything and I'm just in awe. But I'm also honored that you're taking my steps in permission to do what you want to do. Now, this is cool. Look, we're only at 35 minutes, right? But I'm just doing this. Look, so let's just say starting off your first week, your goal is to do 10. We're almost done with our 5 right now. And it only took us 30 minutes. And I did this slow, to be honest, because I'm talking to you, I'm going through it. I'm just, I'm trusting in the process. There is no right or wrong. Only wrong is me not showing up, right? If you want to learn how to do this, if you need that support, join the free eBay art community. The link's below. There's so many like-minded people where we approach art differently than everybody else. We're approaching art in our style, not some art coach, not some art teacher. We're doing it in our style, but we're making money from it. It feels good to actually create and to know that you're making the money, right? It feels so good. I mean, what's a better job than this? Huh? It's like we're being a kid again. They already took our time. I always say like the years gone by so quick and they took our life and our time away from us. This is a way for you to earn your years back, your time back. Don't spend more time. Don't give them more time by creating pieces that take forever. Take your time back by doing these fast, beautiful pieces and selling them and getting on to the next one, but also bettering yourself. And when you get financially free, you're freeing yourself where you're getting your time back from what they try to take from you. And what I mean by that is either your corporate job or situations where you felt like it was out of your control, either if it's the economy, inflation. These are things that they try to take from you, that they have taken from all of us. Some say that the world hasn't been the same since what, 2020 probably. A lot say 2020, 12. I say 2011. It took our life. Time to take it back. Put the power back into your hands. I'm thankful to God that he brought me in this direction to help people. Said if I give it back, then I'm going to be able to get back. And it's going to be a better feeling than just being selfish and not showing the ways of how to be successful. I was selfish for a lot of years when I look back on it. I didn't want to show people how I do the projector. Oh, it's my secret. I didn't want to show people the secrets of how I was able to finesse eBay and do the eBay tactics and the algorithm tricks. And no, that's mine. I guess I was so jaded by like the gallery days of where everything was so difficult for me to learn, where it's my secret. And then when you're like that, you can't die with it, and it leaves like a bad aura with you. It's better to give back. So that's why I have this community. It's a blessing from God, able to do this. Didn't steer me wrong. I think it died out again. Oh, it did. Okay. We're at 40 minutes right now, so let's tighten this up. But just so I could see what I used to what I was saying is that I used to go to YouTube and I used to type in eBay or eBay sales just so I could see what the market is, so I could see what other people are going through. And I would always see people complaining about how their sales were, the market, the algorithm, and these are things that were out of their hands. But I always felt like, well, that's not my issue because me, I paint. And my category is different from everybody else's because they sell electronics or stuff like that. They're not going to put their electronics up for auction, or they're not going to put some of their clothing up on auction because they lose out on the profit margin. And me, I was like, well, that's not my problem because I don't have to deal with those profit margins. And then it's kind of like a selfish way of thinking. And I thought like I was always going to be protected just thinking that way. And it's not. You have to give back. I could have done this a lot faster, but I think I wanted to just show that. I think what I wanted to show is that we do this in 50 minutes or less than 50 minutes, because that really just means that we spent only 10 minutes on each canvas. Right now, we're at 42 minutes. And that's fine by me. Let's add some yellow into this toucan Sam, right? These are phenomenal. And the reason that these are phenomenal as well is because I know how it's going to look once we mock it up on the app to make it with the framing, to make it look like what it's like in the frame. That's where the secret is at. That's where the butter is at. Don't don't leave it up to your customers to have an imagination and figure out what it's going to look like on their wall or what it's going to look like in a frame. No, you need to have it framed already looking like what I used to do before technology had such a simple app program where, well, for the framing, I used to, 5 years ago, I used to take each painting, put it into a physical frame, put it on a wall, take a picture of the framing, then do a crop and then photo. I used to have to do all that just so I could show people what it looks like with the framing. Thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Now it's just a flick of a button. And you can do that totally free. Now, I can show you how to do it inside the eBay art community. I have it all broken down. The best way to do it, but also not just the best way how to do it, but then how Google's algorithm likes to read it. We're at 45 minutes. I'm really going to cook this down till we get to the 50-minute mark. Because why not? Now, if I wanted to, check this out. So I'm at the 50-minute mark. Normally I always work in 90 minutes, how we talk about 90 minutes, because it's an hour and a half. Come on, if you can't do an hour and a half, then you got more of a problem. But I always talk about the 90 minutes. So for 50 minutes, this ain't nothing where we're just doing this together for 50 minutes. Now, let's just say if I'm still on the clock, right? And I do another session after this, but I do it faster because really you could do these, you can warm up and do these in 30 to 40 minutes. There's just no worries, there's no cares about it. And let's just say you do that. You got 2 sessions. You just did 10 canvases in 90 minutes, an hour and a half. Like I can't, I can't tell you where you have to be at in your state of mind to want to do it. You have to have whys. Your why has to be powerful. Your why has to be strong of why you need to do this, why you don't need to go back to corporate America, why it has to work for you. Everybody's why is different. And I love reading that also in the comments below from either YouTube or from the eBay art community, where everybody's why is different. And I can't tell you what your why must be or why you're doing this. Only you know why to make it work. If it's just about you making money, that's not a strong enough why, because eventually you're going to make money for yourself, and then after that it's going to phase out, and you're only going to make enough money to pay your bills, and it's just about you. But if your whys are bigger, like you want to take your wife on a vacation, you think about this idea of this one time when your boss or your manager made you feel inadequate, or talk to you in a way, or you didn't like waking up in the morning, or how you feel when you wake up to the morning to go to a job that you don't like anymore, or that you want to pay for you don't want to be on, you're not living how you used to on a fixed income. These are your whys, and you have to find it. You have to write it down. I have a list of my whys. That's how I was able to get through 17,000 paintings. My whys are strong. Why I'm doing this, why it's important. Is it important enough for you? It's up to you. I can't answer that for you. I can't force you to have strong whys. I could just show you the way how to free yourself. What's the old saying that you can show a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it? That's not my job either. We're all adults here. It's not my job to hold your hand and say, "Hey, wake up in the morning. Here's your alarm clock. Do you want to work today?" And I don't want to treat it like that either, where, "Hey, I'm checking on you to make sure that you're doing your homework." Are your whys strong enough? If your whys aren't strong enough, then that's something through you. And I can't force that out of you. But good thing is that if you're here for a reason. Everybody who was brought here is here for a reason. Is what I've discovered. All right, now we're at 49 minutes, so let's call this a wrap. Let me add some white on here. Boom. And that's that. Okay. And there we go. Now that was a good warm up right there. I thought that was a brilliant warm up. I consider that a warm up. It's just like exercising. Then after this, when I do another set of 5, it's going to look better than this because I'm more warmed up, I'm more loose. You know, I would even just have more fun into these. But look at these. Look at that. Here, let me grab the camera and we can go over here and show what these look like. Look at that. Huh? What do you think? You likey? They're going to look even better once they're framed up. They're going to look amazing. But we did this. Each one is 10 minutes. We did it in 50 minutes. Look at this. Here's the timer. There's the timer. Counting down. You didn't see me touch that. Look, that's 50 minutes. 50 minutes it took us. That means it took us 10 minutes to do each one of these. You see how we save time doing that? And you can knock it out just like that. Look, if I can do it, if I can do it, then you can do it. We just did that together, and that is so cool. So I'm gonna check you out on the next video. If you wanna do something like that for yourself, you wanna learn how to do it, you wanna take advantage, you wanna get all the financial freedom, click the link below, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. I appreciate it.